Hi, this is Neil Walters, the creator of website-garden.com. And this is an onboarding training video. So if you went through our onboarding process, this may be one of the first videos you're watching on how to set up your website so that you can monitor them. So we will go to the application over here. Right now I'm on the current task screen. And to set up your first website, it's also called a domain. So you go to Domain Manager over here. So that's both really websites and domains. And what we're going to do, first of all, you're not going to have any, so you're going to click Add Domain right here. And let's say your website is abcd.com. Now, optionally, you can select your host and your registrar. Your host is where you're hosting your website. It could be like Amazon. It could be, I'm trying to get off HostGator. It could be Cloudflare. It could be Amazon Web Services or Lightsail, whatever. You can pick your host here, or you can actually add your own host. So let's just say this is on HostGator, just for example. And there's a lot of checkboxes on here. You don't really have to use them. They're just for helping you do searches later if you do have multiple domains. Is monetized, you would check that for your main site, because monetized sites sometimes will sort to the top if there's issues. It's like if you have 20 websites that are down, you want to make sure you fix your monetized ones first. Is it a PBN? That stands for Private Blog Network. That's for SEO guys who basically set up multiple blogs that have pointers back to your blog. Here's your registrar. That would be like GoDaddy, for example, Namecheap, Name Silo, and we'll pick that. And some of these fields later will actually sync with GoDaddy. We have a batch process that will pull the data across. So you can leave some of these fields out. PBN tier, that's again, if you're using these private blog networks, you can say this is like a tier 1, a tier 2, or whatever. You don't need that. Priority, don't need. Network group is if you want to group your websites together. Like I might have 3 sites about Bitcoin and 4 sites about Hebrew and 7 sites about foreign languages. So I can group my websites into my own little groups here. And again, that helps me search for them later. If your website is for selling affiliate products, you can check this box and you can say like, we're selling a ClickBank product for called XYZ or whatever here. Is local is also mostly for SEO people, search engine optimization people. That's if you have a website that is specific to a local town, like IrvingSEOExpert.com or Dallas HVACrepair.com, something like that. Then here you can put in topics. So like say you are a HVAC company, you can have different topics. And again, this is just lets you search for it better later. Is private. Most of these you don't need. Let's just actually skip over them. You could turn the monitoring off, but normally you're not. You're going to want your monitoring, so you would not want to turn monitoring off. The case you would turn your monitoring off would be in the case of like a domain where the website doesn't exist yet. Again, forwarding URL, we don't need all this. The client has to either be you or one of your customers. In this case, you're probably going to just see yourself here. But since I'm an SEO agency, I can add my own customers. And here's if you have your Google property ID, you can get Google statistics that we can monitor for you. But there's a little more setup involved in that, and that will require an extra video. Here you can put just your various notes, like this is my main HVAC site for Dallas. And I just realized I spelled that wrong. This should be Dallas. The to-do notes could be stuff like I need to update the privacy page. Just a little reminder note for you. And then basically you save that. See the green at the top says it's saved. Now we want to go back to the domain manager on the left. And like a while ago in the demo, I created an abc.com. So now I'm going to search and you'll see ABC and abcd.com. My prior video, I had some mistakes, so I had to redo the video. So this is my second video. So now this is your domain or your website, and it's monetized. And see, here's where you can search for example, only certain clients or only certain hosts. Only show me my websites that are hosted on GoDaddy, for example. And these statistics will start flowing in on Fridays. We only collect certain statistics about your search engine optimization on Fridays. And so these numbers will eventually appear here. On the right, you have your edit button, your uptime history, your SEO stats history. You can delete the domain, or you can go open the website in another browser page. Of course, this is a fake website, so it won't open. So now let's talk about monitoring. That's what we came here for, right? So we're going to start with uptime history. Now, again, this is a fake website. And what we do is we monitor them about every 4 hours. So rather than using this fake website, I'm going to go to one of my own blogs, My Life is My Message.net. And basically, if you look at the times here, let's start with this one. This is today on the 21st of August at 4 a.m., 7 a.m., 10 a.m., and 1 p.m., 13 o'clock. So this is every 4 hours. We're checking your website. We're basically getting your homepage, and we're recording how long it took to retrieve the data on that homepage, what your HTTP status code, which 200 is a normal happy path or an okay status. And if there were issues, you might have another text here if there were other various problems. And this tells you how many bytes were retrieved. And that's basically what you need to know on this page. Now, below that, you'll see a graph. Now, this website was actually down for actually several weeks before I noticed it. So even though I have my own monitoring system, it was sending me emails, but I wasn't opening my own emails, which is horrible, right? So my website was down for a while. And so right here, this shows you that it was up 34 point whatever 9% of the time, and it was down 65.1% of the time in the given time period. And you notice at the top, this is 1 month. If I change this now to say like January, you see now you're going to have hundreds of rows here. And then now your uptime is going to look different. It was up 80% of the time and down 19.1% of the time. And you also see these other reasons it was down, like max retries exceeded. That seemed to only happen 9 times. And what we call the white screen of death. That just means the website doesn't open, but there's really no error other than no home page is visible. And then here's the response time. So you can see that 17.3% of the time we are under, or actually we're between half a second and 1 second. Most of the time, 75.1%, we're between 1 and 2 seconds. And occasionally it's over 2 or 3 seconds. Okay, very rarely there. Okay, so that is your uptime monitoring. Now down here you get a little graph and you can kind of go like, what was happening that day? So for some reason on this day, we had some really weird peaks, like a 5-second and almost a 6-second response time. And that probably was either a problem with my hosting company or maybe just the internet in general was slow, or maybe maybe the service we're using to check, maybe there was just an internet problem that day. But you can see most of the time you're down here in this little group down here between a little over 1 second most of the time. So that is your normal website monitoring. In a minute, I'll show you how you can increase it to be more often than 4 hours if 4 hours is not enough for you. Also, there's a checkbox here if you only want to see the errors, you check that. And so like here was when my website was down, I was getting a 500 HTTP status code and it just said unknown status. That's like server error or something like that. So now let's scroll to the bottom of the page and you see other links down here. And one of them is going to be SEO stats. SEO stands for search engine optimization. Now, starting in January this year, we added this one, SERankings.com or I think it's .com, DT, domain trust. So we didn't have those yellow dots before that date because we weren't licensed to use their tool. We also get MozDA and MozDA, Domain Authority, and Majestic Trust Flow every Friday. And I think our batch program wasn't working for maybe a certain time period here, but we got it working again. So every time there's a dot here is basically where we called a service to get this data and we store it into our database so that we can graph it here. And for some reason, you see this is kind of interesting that this blue one here is flat. It just hardly ever changes at all. Whereas Majestic Trust Flow, it looks like my website got a lot better as far as SEO. It doubled from like almost tripled from like down here at a 3 up here to a 20. That's like 6 times better. So I don't know what I did, but I did something to this website maybe to make it more popular on Google. Now here's something called SEO experiments. I added one when I did my video a while ago, but I'll add another one for you here. And what this is to remember what you did. So for example, let's say add experiment. And on our website, if you go over here on the left, you should see services shop. And that's kind of like our own little version of Fiverr. And you can go to Fiverr, a website called Conquer, or you can go to our website. And there are people out there that will do these little SEO tasks for you. And so let's say I bought increase DA to 30 task. and I bought it from down here. You can put the vendor. So let's say it's, let's just say Jonathan is my vendor. And the description is supposed to get website DA up to 30. Okay, now let's say the day I bought that, maybe it was August 1st, for example, and it was supposed to be completed on a certain date. They say like it usually takes 2 weeks, for example. So let's say it was supposed to be finished on the 15th, and then they might have actually finished it a day early or a day late. So let's say they finished it actually on the 19th. So I could put down here in results, was 4 days late, and then the results were zip. Like, in other words, it didn't do anything. They said they're going to raise my DA. I looked at my graph. My DA was not higher. So I'm going to give them I can't give them a 0 ranking, but I'll give them a 1 out of 5 stars, meaning basically don't use them again, right? And if this was, there was a cost to it, I could put here the cost, like say it was a $75 gig. And if this was on my site or another site, you could put the URL here to that Fiverr gig or the Conquer gig, or what do you want to call it, the service that you bought, just so you can remember later what service it was and who you bought it from. And then you just click save, and then now we have 2 SEO experiments on this website. You know, maybe it could be that one of those experiments is what made it go up here. So I could have said maybe I bought a Majestic increased trust flow on this date, and sure enough, it went up. And then I could give it a 5-star rating. So that's what your SEO experiments are about. You don't have to use that. It's just an optional feature. Then down here below, you can see the actual numbers from every one of those sites. And I didn't mention up here, you do see some of these green dots on here for Ahrefs. That is kind of like the premier source. However, they charge like $500 a month for their API. And once we get maybe a few hundred or a few thousand customers on Website Garden, we'll probably add that. But right now, you can go to Ahrefs yourself and you can get your data for your website. And then you can just come down here and you can click this edit button. For example, let's say on the 13th, you say my domain rating was a 24 and the URL rating was a 19. I had 555 backlinks and 32 referring domains. Those are the 4 main stats that you get from Ahrefs. And so now basically that green dot, if I refresh this page, should appear. Let me go ahead and refresh it. So I think I said the 18th. It just so happened to be it's that same, the green dot and the blue dot were in the same place. But anyway, I think that's the green dot I added. You can see it's starting to connect those dots now. Okay, there's one more type of monitoring I want to talk about, and that is the snapshots. So we're going to go to the snapshots page. And again, we do a lot of our statistics on Friday. So it's either Thursday night or Friday. And here's the date. We go to your website site and we take a picture of your homepage basically. And what we're doing here is showing the current one and the previous one, the current one and the previous one. So if there's ever any major change or if the website got hacked, it's very easy to see the difference visually. And we also compare them, and we use an algorithm to do that. And so these two are 100% the same. Sometimes you'll have a web page, just for example, let me show you. Oh, I have to pick it from the list. If I type Hebrew here, then I click down here, that one's the same too. This one has like this little pop-up here. And so sometimes the pop-up could actually be delayed like a half second. And so they might look a little bit different, and it might say it's 98% the same or 90% the same. And so we actually do send out an email if they're like more than, if they're not like 80% the same or more. We send you an email suggesting that you need to check your site and make sure it hasn't been hacked. Now, the last thing I want to mention to you over here is on the left. If you use this search bar, you just type in monitoring. So on this page, it tells you at the top, monitor your domains with flexible options. Enjoy free updates every 3 hours. That's what we were just talking about. You get the stats every 3 hours. Or you can upgrade to premium for faster insights every 5 minutes. So if you have a website and you want to know it's down within like 5 minutes, this is what you need to do, is this option here. But we have to check your website, like hundreds of times a day if that's true. And so that takes more computer resources. And so we have to charge you $5 a month extra per domain to do that. We call them credits. And so you can buy credits and then spend them at different places on our website. This is one of the places you can spend your credits. So you basically go down here and you find the website that you want to turn this on. And let's say it was this one. You would come over here and you would say, basically, it says, now you're going to upgrade. We're going to charge you 5 credits per month. and you click confirm. And it's telling you here it's going to be rebuild automatically every month so that you have uninterrupted service. So if your credits get down, I think we also send you an email out saying like, hey, your credits are low and you need to add some credits or else your monitoring will quit on a certain date. So I'm not going to turn that on because I don't actually need it at this time. So anyway, that is basically everything you need to know about monitoring. You can add as many domains here as your level permits. When you first signed up, we ask you how many domains you have. So if you go back here to the domain manager again, like right now, it says I have 207 out of 1,000 domains. If you're at the lower level, it might say you have 1 out of 5 domains or whatever. That's how many domains or websites you can add in here without having to subscribe to a higher level, basically. So that is what you need to know about monitoring to get started. Hope this has been useful, and I hope you get your websites under control. It's been very useful to me because when you have over 100 websites, these are not all active, but there's always some website going down for some stupid reason that's beyond my control. Oftentimes it gets hacked. Sometimes it's the hosting company has a glitch, and it's kind of like whack-a-mole. They just pop up like once every 2 or 3 weeks. Oh, this website's down. Oh, this website's down. And it's a constant effort to basically keep all these websites up and running. And that's one of the main reasons I created Website Garden, was for that reason. So hope again this is useful to you, and we'll see you in the next training video.